Hi friends, consider a scenario of a COBOL program PGMA. PGMA is calling a subprogram PGM01 in a static way. 01 is calling to 02, 02 is calling to 03 as shown in the diagram. Finally, PGM9 is calling to subprogram PGM10 in a static way. Now suppose the PGM10 undergoes through some sort of development changes. Now then the question arises, what all programs will undergo through compilation process change? Compilation process means pre-compile, compile and link editing. So if the PGM10 undergoes through any sort of changes, development changes, then what all the programs will undergo through compilation process change? Your option on only PGM10, only PGM9, both PGM9 and PGM10, all the programs shown in the diagram. I will answer this question in the next part of the video. Hi friends, this is Ashutosh, Mainframe Legacy Modernization Consultant, and I welcome you in this short video where I am going to show you nested call chain utility. This utility is beneficial for every mainframe developer. Also, it is beneficial in decision-making process of mainframe job optimization. So now let's see how it is beneficial for every mainframe developer. Suppose there is a program, COBOL program, PGMA, and this program is calling to set of another programs. Those programs are calling to another programs and so on. So the call chain is going on in a nested way. For example, PGMA, it is calling to two subprograms A11, A12, then A12 is calling to A13 and so on. So we have prepared this diagram for PGMA. This is called a call chain diagram. So as we know what is call chain diagram, now let's see why the call chain diagram is so important. Consider a nested dynamic call and static call, two cases. In the first case, PGMA is calling PGMB in a static way at level 1, and then PGMB is calling to PGMC in a dynamic way. Whereas the case 2 is PGMA is calling to PGMB in a static way, same as like case 1, and then PGMB is calling to PGMC in a static way. So PGMA calling PGMB in a static way is same, but then PGMB calling to PGMC in case 1 it is a dynamic, and in case 2 it is a static. Now consider PGMC is having simple display message hi, then we change it to display hello, and now the new PGMC is display hello. So the developer compiled PGMC and ran PGMA. So in the first case he will get the output as hello, and in the second case he will get the output as a hi. This difference happened because the ground rule is in case of dynamic call, which is in a case 1, just compiling the called program is enough. But in case of case 2, where it is a static call, link edit of called program and all the calling program is too important. So that's the major difference. Now coming to our main scenario or main question, where the PGM10 undergo through the changes. So it is quite clear that all the programs shown in the diagram, which is the option D, is correct. So all the things that will undergo through the compilation process change, and PGM10 will have to link edit with the 9, 9 with the 8 and so on. If that is not taken care, then if we run the PGMA, it will not point to the latest load module of PGM10, and it will point to the old load module of PGM10. So that's the reason why call chain diagrams are too much important. We'll see that how this nested call chain utility helps us to create automatically such all the call chain hierarchy in fractions of second. So as we are done with the theory part, let's move to the practical part quickly. So this is Avni's utility, and in COBOL section we are present and we are finding out a call chain report. So this utility will find the call chain report. In this folder there are around 67,000 or 60,000 plus COBOL program, COBOL CSS, COBOL DB2, COBOL programs, and I just listed out the best possible program for the demo purpose. So here I have listed out these programs. Inside each folder there is one COBOL program, and the output of this COBOL program will appear in the same folder with prefixed as a O and then program name. There's a odgxa040q.txt. So that will be the output of this program. So now let's move to the first thing. Here we have to first select the running mode, whether we are running the single program or running in a batch. So we have selected the single, and now we are finding the call chain report for the program, this one, where subprogram is present for a demo one. So this is one COBOL program. It has created the output inside the same folder, and it has opened it also. So this is that one. So you can see that the output report contains the header as a main program. What is the main program? So this is the main program. And what are all the subprograms present inside that? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 subprograms are present inside this program. So the nested subprograms, the program present inside the subprograms. So they are listed down to the end. Then what is the call type? Whether it is static call, dynamic call, that way. Frequency we will see later. The number of lines in this program. So this program is having 308 lines. The number of lines processed so far, cumulative. So that is 308, and the type of program. So it is a purely COBOL program. If it is a COBOL and DB2 program, so it will come CBL and DB2. If it is a CICS also, then CBL, DB2 and CICS. So it has the ability to identify the type of the program also, and it can list it. So as in this example, only the main program is present inside our folder and not the subprograms. So it went to search those subprograms, but it couldn't find. So it listed as a not found NA. So now we will see the second example where we will make this subprogram available, and we will see whether it can really search those subprograms also. So in the second demo, the subprograms are present, the same main program, and okay, so it has listed its output also immediately. So as seen that this is the main program, these are the subprograms, and it went inside this subprograms. The number of lines in this is 11011, and the type of program is COBOL. So the same way it went searching the other subprograms, nested subprograms, and it find out. Finally, after processing 752 records, it created this output. So as you can see in the earlier one, the subprograms were not present in the folder, so it couldn't expand them. But the moment it got, it expanded them as a modified report. So now we will see that the third example, the static call. So this is one COBOL program, and it is having 4 subprograms, and all are getting called in a static way. So now let's cross check whether it's really true. So in the call chain demo, static call, this is the main program. Here we will say that call, Control F, and all those are M programs. So we will search it by this way. So you can see that they are getting called directly by their name. So this is a subprogram. Sorry. So this is a static call. RN1, 007, 0017, and LABN. So these 4 subprograms, and all are getting called static way. So 4 subprograms, all are getting called in a static way. Now let's move to the next example. Here we will see that how it identifies the dynamic call. So now we saw how it identifies the static call. We'll see that it has 81C, 79C, 80C, 4 subprograms. They are getting called dynamically. And in fourth example, so this is the program. You can see that call and this name, okay, and this name is 281C, so that's a dynamic call. So it didn't list out this name WDY and 2x81C, but it went inside and it find what is the value present inside that, and there from there it listed it as a dynamic call. So the same way I believe that 287, 280C, 279C it would have found. So we'll see that only search till this call. call 281C, 281C 2 times, 281C 3 times, then 79C, 80C. So if we come to the report, here we can see that 281C, it is getting called 3 times. So this is the frequency. So the number of times the program is getting called inside that, that is called as the frequency of the program. 279C, it is one time in a dynamic way. 280C, it is one time in a dynamic way. So this is the static and dynamic call. Now let's move to our fifth example, that is a static and dynamic call combinedly. In the third demo, we saw how it identifies static calls. In the fourth, we saw how it identifies the dynamic call. And if in the fifth, we will see that if the program is having static and dynamic call inside that, how it handles that. So let's go to that now. The fifth demo, static and dynamic call. So this is the one main program. Okay, so it identified and it listed out. So here we can see that this is the main program and these are two sub programs. Both they are called in a static way, 008 times and 12 times. So now we will make some changes inside this. As you can see that is a static call this one. Okay, if we find out count, the count is 8 times. So the program listed the frequency as a 8. Now we will slightly change it. So we will make it a bit complicated. So instead of comment this line, now we are calling call SPTM flag 2 and this one. So this flag 2, its value we are making present from flag 1. We have to uncomment this line. Then flag 1, its value is coming from the flag value. We will uncomment this. And then finally the flag value is present as a this one. So now you can see that this value DFSOA is coming to flag value, then flag value is going to the flag 1 is going to the flag 2, and finally we are calling a flag 2. So this is a dynamic call. So now let's see, after making the changes, the one dynamic and 7 static call, how the utility can identify these things. So the operation is done and you can see that this is the main program, this is a sub program. This is called dynamic way 1 times and the same subprogram is getting called static way 7 times, CBLDTL 12 times. So we can say that it has the ability to understand what is dynamic call, what is static call in a proper way. And it gives the frequency also. So how many times that is getting called dynamically or how many times it is getting called static way. So now let's move to our next demo quickly. So that is COBOL DB2 type call. Okay. So this is one program. Okay, so if it is a lengthy program, it takes time and same time it notifies the user that it is processing. So as you can see that this was our main program. It is giving call to 1, 2, 3, 4 sub programs. All those are the static call and frequency is 1. Further, TXT is calling to L5TXT. L5TXT is the COBOL DB2 program. Then LBHT, this sub program, it is not having any further calls. Then R&D, it is calling 2081C and then 2x this program 2182C, whatever. It is a COBOL DB2 program. Okay, so we will cross check that whether it's the true call chain demo. And if we go to this one and open any program, okay, which program is seeing that? L5MVT. L5MVT. So okay, so this Operations are present, insert, update, and all those things. So you can easily say that this is a COBOL DB2 type program, and the output it has created is very true. So it has the ability to understand the program type also, whether it is a COBOL program or whether it is a COBOL DB2 type of program or CICS is involved. So far we have cross-checked the main program, subprogram, nested subprogram, the type of call, how it can understand the static call, dynamic call, the frequency also, lines processed, and program type. So now let's move quickly to the seventh interesting example, where I have made this program. So this SSISO, this is calling to LMVT, and this LMVT is calling to SSIO0. So it is as like A is calling to B and B is again calling to A. So it is going in an infinite loop. A calling B, B calling A. Again, when we will nest it, A calling B, B calling A. So same way it is going in a nested loop, infinite loop. Now we will see that whether if there is a case in our real life scenario that somewhere that our developer has coded that way, whether it has the ability to identify those way, or the utility can identify these things, or it will go in a loop. So I have just turned the volume because it will give some error message and I want you should hear it. So we are going to the infinite loop example where we are
loop detected.
okay, it gave the message loop detected, but voice was too feeble. I'm not sure whether you heard it or not. So you can see that this program is calling to two subprograms. So further this was not present, but LMVT is calling to CBL DTI and SSI0. So the same main program. So we have detected the loop here. So it identified loop detected and it didn't nest it further. So it didn't go in a loop, infinite loop. So 5852 lines it processed and ended. So the utility can say that it has the ability to identify the loop, and it is not when the A is calling B, B is calling A. Even there is a scenario where A calling B, B calling C, C calling D, and D is calling to A, or D calling E, F, G, H, and then H calling to A. So even at the deep level, it is going in a loop. The utility can detect that it is going in a loop and it lists out as a loop detected. So this is also one powerful feature of this utility, I will say. Now let's move to the next example. The next one is not a COBOL program. Suppose, before that, I will show you the eighth example where it is not a COBOL program. So SSI0, this is a COBOL program, but LMVT, this is not a COBOL program. I simply copy pasted the lines from the Wikipedia, and this is not a COBOL program. So what happens when the program is calling to a subprogram, but that subprogram is not a COBOL program? So how it handles that scenario, we'll see that.
MCXL0MVT is not a COBOL program.
Okay, so it okay, so this is the output, and it gave the message that it is not a valid program. You can see that this program is calling to two subprograms, CBLTDI, LMVT. CBLDTI it couldn't find inside that folder, and LMVT is its program type is invalid. So it analyzed those 11 lines, and after analyzing all the lines, it came to know that this is not a COBOL program. So it listed that way properly.